Hey there.
Hey, Liam. I have no idea how many people are going to join us this morning.
Sorry, my mic was me or my speaker was muted. What did you say?
Oh no, I was just saying I don't know how many people are even going to join us this morning. I know everyone is super burnt, but I went ahead and I listened to Danny's like the first 30 minutes of that presentation she gave back in like July when we first brought on a bunch of staff. Hey Joe. And I just like made it into a PowerPoint. So I figure like worst case scenario, we can do that during all hands. And then, just wing it from there. I think only you and I are going to have desks today. So we might want to change the
Okay.
time of the photo desk. Like
Okay.
if we do all hands from like 12 to 12:30 and then news from 12:30 to 1 and then photo from 1 to 1:30, I think that gets us through.
Yeah, we should announce that in the all hands too, because I know some of the photographers like just come for photo. So
Yeah,
if it's
exactly. Would
in
you do
fact,
that?
yeah. Oh,
Would that be okay? Would you mind like dropping the link and just saying the time for stuff?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so let's see.
Call Andrew and see if he's up. Hey Joe, how are you doing?
I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I've got end of semester brain rot.
hmm,
I'm working on like 30% mental capacity right now, at best.
I'm using classic procrastination techniques where I'm doing things I don't need to do, so I don't think about the things I have to do.
Yeah, I've cleaned my house like 6 times in the last
I was
week.
just about to say I just cleaned my room like spent like the last 48 hours just cleaning my room.
You know it's bad when I start like making my bed frequently. That's a horrible sign.
All right, so we have all hands from 12 to 12:30, news from 12:30 to 1, and photo from 1 to 1:30. That's correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Cool. All right.
That's all we're doing today. So
I totally
yeah.
real quick, I totally agree with the data all hands at some point because I still get
Oh,
mixed up
you.
between percentage points and percentage. So
It doesn't have to be all stressful though. Like it doesn't have to be like, oh my God, you have to prepare like a 30-minute presentation. I just know, I mean, like I went to a training at Columbia, fucking Missouri, wherever that is. And then I
That's
also,
the home of NICAR right there.
yeah, that it was an ICAR training. And that was like a week-long thing on data analysis. And then I worked at KUNM for like from April till August doing data analysis. And I still don't feel like I know what data analysis is. I mean, I know what
It's
it
a
is.
tough field. I don't even know what it is.
I feel like I need to take like 15 statistics classes to be able to do it well.
I mean, I failed all of my stats classes, so there's hope yet.
Okay, looks like Joseph and Alex are going to join us. And Andrew's awake, so we're making progress.
Good morning.
good morning.
I'm very tired and I'm very sorry of how delirious I am. It's about that time of the semester where I'm up too late to finish things. How is everyone?
Hell yeah.
Joe.
Same here, dude.
Oh my god. Ugh. All right. Whoa, look at this. What is this?
This is my
We've got a PowerPoint.
Join us.
What?
I said Laffy Jaffy's going to join us.
Laffy Jaffy. Fuck.
Is he actually?
No.
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, what
No,
the fuck
Joe.
am I doing here?
I would scream.
I
Scream like a
would slap
toddler.
the hell out of Jeffy.
Oh my god. Thank you, Daily Lobo CEO.
So in my attempt to not do the stuff I need to do, I went through the first 30 minutes of Danny's presentation this July, and I turned it into a PowerPoint so we would have some content for all hands today, just so that our 4 no people won't get scared away the first day.
Yes,
That
that's
was
a good
my
idea.
so now I want to like talk to you guys about it and see if you can help me make it a little bit better. And then
Hi everyone, Laffy Jaffe here.
Hello, Laffy Jaffe. But yeah, let's go through the PowerPoint.
okay. I mean, we don't have to do it first. We can do check-ins first if we want.
Okay. Wow, sorry, I forgot how to even start this.
I love checking in. I'll check in.
All right, what are your highs and lows? Go.
Let's see. Highs, I don't think there was a single one. Lows, all of them. That's it. Thank
Well
you
played.
for your time. That's it.
Agreed. I think we can all
Bravo.
agree to that.
Bravo. Joe, what were your highs and lows?
No. There was a high. Wednesday was awesome. That was it.
What was awesome?
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday was the shit.
Yeah, that's
That
so
was-
fucking true.
That was badass and the only highlight of the entire week.
That is so true. I had such a horrible week except for that
Fucking
one
4
isolated
hours of
incident.
blasting the shit out of ASU and M.
They were crying. They were so mad.
God, what a time that was. I would do that every day if I could.
That was fucking glory.
I was a little stressed by some of the fucking negative comments, though. I have to say, I was like, it's sort of like the fucking
Yeah.
election results. I'm all, are there really these idiots that exist out there? Like, what the fuck? That's disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it just drew people out like that.
Like, who the fuck is Chelsea? And why is she like recognizing it?
Chelsea's some neo-lib loser who's probably in a sorority. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I have no clue. That was a pretty good day. I'm not gonna lie, it definitely wiped me out a lot more than I thought it would.
Yeah, I was out of it the next day.
I'd love to find some way to prevent that from ever happening again, but we'll see if that's even possible. I don't know. Joe, what were your highs and lows?
Highs were Wednesday. Lows was immediately the next day when I spent 36 hours at the office. My eyes were red for like 2 days after that. I was just staring at screens only.
Joe's just camped in the office.
Probably do it again soon too. I'm way behind in school.
It is a practice that I might have to reconsider allowing people to do, given that everyone's dying.
Sure.
But it's not like I'm not coming in as much anyways.
So I'll try to not lick all the doorknobs.
I think we just
Despite
might
how
have to
tempting it is.
reinstate the like cleaning before you leave thing. At least like a daily cleaning schedule or something, you know?
Yeah.
Just wipe everything down. Yeah. Melissa, what were your highs and lows?
It's so hard to choose. Like, the fucking pandemic is a mess, and that's like and trying to go back to being all freaked out and scared like we were in the beginning so that we don't actually go out, that's been like a real mind fuck. So like not going to the grocery store, or if you do go to the grocery store, having them like bring you your groceries instead of going in, and like that's just been hard to like retrain, especially the week before Thanksgiving. I don't know if I dropped it in the chat, but I saw this article about like harm reduction, which I thought was a much like healthier and better way of approaching it, instead of just being like, people are fucking idiots, because we are fucking idiots. But like, if we're still going to do Thanksgiving, what are some things we can do that won't, make it as bad as it could be, or something like that. So
Right.
I think the pandemic is the fucking low. I'm trying not to be depressed because I'm stuck at home, and, we might all die, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Highs, though, there was a couple highs, surprisingly. Like, Andrew and I got along really well yesterday, which was a really great day. And, like that fucking thing with Wednesday, it could have been way worse. It could have been so worse. Like,
Yeah.
could have lost, and that would have been miserable. And so many people said so many nice things, like from across the like country. They showed up to talk for 5 minutes and say things eloquently, and that was brilliant. Andrew and I interviewed 4 new bright and shiny reporters who aren't jaded or burnt. They're like, we want to do all the things and we're super shiny and special. And I still feel like it's a metaphor for like, I watched that HBO special, which is now like 30 years old, that was called A Band of Brothers. And it was all about World War II. And like they had all the first recruits that did all the training, and then they go out and like all of their comrades die. And so there's a few of them left and they're all like gnarled and fucked up. And then they bring in the new recruits who are all like, why don't you guys love us? And everyone's like, fuck off. We don't want to get close to you and then have you die, you know? And it's like this horrible thing. And I feel like we're like that now. Like we're going to bring in these new kids and everyone's going to be like, yeah, we're not going to make friends with you because you won't last. So,
What?
It's a really good show though. That like, yeah.
Band of Brothers is so good. The soundtrack to that was pristine.
Oh my
Absolutely
God.
gorgeous.
The whole thing was just
I
done
can't believe you
perfectly.
guys have even seen it. I never make pop culture references that you have any idea what I'm talking about.
Look, okay, I've got an anecdote from my experience with Band of Brothers, right? It's nerdy as hell, but I'm going to share it anyway because we're talking about Band of Brothers, and it was a really good show. There's a drum corps called Carolina Crown, and like does anybody know the theme song of that show? Of like when like the credits roll? Liam?
No, it's called what?
When the credits, like when the opening
I
credits.
don't think anyone knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is too cultured for me. I'm gonna reject.
Don't you?
Too cultured. All right. Well, I'll tell the story later because
Wait, you want me to find it and share it in the
lame it's lame if you don't know it. No, it's fine.
the band?
Aw.
This is the low for the week.
Andrew,
Break out my reference.
This is my absolute low.
This is rock bottom.
fuck. I have not watched that show. Maybe I will.
I think the most dated like war show that I know is MASH, but MASH was really
MASH. Oh my god. Fuck. It's a whole nother dimension of culture.
good. Yeah.
It feels like we could not be any further from MASH. Like at this current moment.
Take me back to
Oh.
MASH.
And
No.
Frasier was good too. Frasier was really good.
I was just talking about Seinfeld last night. I was like, wow, what a fucking portal into another time.
I never liked Seinfeld, never got into it. I don't know. I know everyone loved it, but like I've tried and it's just like, I don't
The
know.
only times I've enjoyed Seinfeld is when I'm watching it with my dad because he thinks it's funny, and so then I kind of laugh because he's laughing.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Seinfeld is a show about literally nothing. It's funny. Am I showing my age that I'm 50
No, I
years
think
old?
it's just a white dad thing. So it's not about age. It's just.
I'm a
like...
white dad. That's me.
What are you father to?
That's a child.
Everyone always forgets that Andrew has a kid.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Andrew has a
Fuck.
human daughter.
I remember, and I know you told me.
Fucked up white dad erasure. I will not say.
The most important demographic.
I think if anything was to be erased from our culture, white dads would not be the first. Just
Yeah, something
not
tells me
based
they're
on
pretty safe.
actual importance, but yeah. Anyways,
Liam, how was your week?
how did you know I was gonna ask Liam next?
Because I'm
Holy
always last.
No, Joseph is
This
last.
is Joseph Erasure now.
Oh.
I'm trying to ask you because I didn't want you to be last. I keep fucking the order. I don't know why the like tile order. It's like right now it's like Lissa, Joe, Andrew, Liam, Joseph. So I kind of go down the line.
It doesn't really seem like it has any like logical order. I've tried figuring out like how the tiles are arranged, but I really can't figure it out.
Me neither.
These are the answers we need. for the-
Exactly. Yeah. This
People
should be
need
the
to
next
know.
story.
Why isn't the media talking about this?
Yeah.
How is the media not covering this? This is so fucked.
My week was pretty good though. I didn't really have any big lows. Just homework and stuff. But I had a couple highs. I got a new phone, which is pretty cool.
Hey, show us the phone.
Show us the phone.
Hang on.
I would like to see it.
Hang on. Let me.
Hello.
Hello. This is the phone.
Wow.
I love it. It's
Wow.
a Pixel, and I love it way more than my iPhone, and I will never go back.
Okay, all right. You don't need to get preachy about it now.
And join you, sir.
I'm gonna
Boo.
convert all of you to Pixel.
We've got
I've
an
been thinking
Android
about
guy in
Pixel,
the room.
honestly.
Say what?
Pixels are cool, man. I still
They're
have a
cool.
4-inch
Yeah.
screen, man. I can't
Yeah.
even see your faces. You're so small. So my screen is so tiny.
Yeah, I've never had a phone that like doesn't have a home button before, so that takes some getting used to because it's like all the way to the edge of the screen,
Oh, yeah.
or the edge of the phone. But
Check out those bezels.
yes,
They don't even exist.
right. Yeah, and I had like an iPhone 8,
Bezel-less.
like 8 Plus, which was gigantic, and like it was the screen itself was the size of the entire phone. So, and then it had giant bezels. So yeah, this is super light. But the other high was getting to take some portraits for the grad profiles, because I took probably, and I know I say this every time, but I took one of the best photos I've ever taken.
Hell
Here,
yeah.
let me share my screen real quick. I'll show
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah.
Show the photos.
Show photo.
Show photo.
All right. And let's see. Is it working?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Whoa.
Look
Oh
at that
my god,
big
this is the
desktop.
most organized, like, fucking.
Holy
Yeah, what the
shit.
hell?
Oh my god.
Where's your
This man-
taskbar? Why is the taskbar
Oh
transparent?
my god.
This is a man who has his shit together.
Yeah.
pro-
holy fuck.
Holy, here, I'll show you guys my desktop after this. This is fucking crazy.
This
Oh,
is
here, let me-
insane. Liam, I didn't know you're the type of person to like get these kinds of wallpapers and then get like some widget that has the time and date on the side.
I didn't know I was either, but then
So-
all of a sudden I just
And it
did it.
happened.
The quarantine will bring out weird qualities of people.
This is the photo though.
Wow.
I
This is
know,
really
like
great.
it looks
Look
like
at
it
the
was done in a
colors.
studio.
Look at the greens.
What time of day was
Yeah.
it?
I know, that's the crazy part. It was like after like sunrise, like 10:30.
Whoa.
But there just happened to be enough cloud cover to where the light was soft enough, and the background just, like this was the very first photo I took like that day.
I've never seen
There's
softer
like a-
light than that.
I'm
Yeah,
so
That's the shot. That is Tempur-Pedic soft light right there.
I took another one
Absolutely.
later in the day, and it didn't, like, sometimes when you take photos, it's like, the photo shoot is just like smooth and like there's no problems. And then the same evening I did another photo shoot, and like, I don't know, I was like super awkward, and it's just, like over the course of the day, I just get more awkward. But the photo for her turned out pretty good too.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Cute.
yay. I miss doing assignments, so I'm gonna try to do more.
Do we have
so
an
cool.
all-female grad profile edition?
Wow.
Do we?
Sending
You
it.
would know, right?
I think so.
That's unprecedented.
I'm so
Wow.
excited about
Cool.
it.
Breaking barriers.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really good, Liam.
Thanks.
Yeah, let me show you guys my desktop real quick. Oh, hold on, I'm working on a graph right now. Let me get this out of the way.
No, is that it? I think you were intentionally leaving that up. Be like, oh, guys, don't look.
This
Okay.
is gonna give me
Sorry.
PTSD. I already know.
Oh,
Oh my
this
God.
screen?
God.
Oh, no, that's
Oh,
not it. All
holy
right.
crap.
If you
What
think
the
that's
fuck?
it. All right, now let me
This
share the screen.
Fucking.
Let me share the
disturbing.
screen next to it. Hold on.
Oh
let me
my
see.
god. Oh my
You
god.
know, the next
No.
one is pretty full too.
Wait,
This
let
is
me-
chaotic evil.
And so this is the screen directly to the right of that one.
Oh
And
my
so-
Oh my
Jesus.
god.
And then
You
there's a
don't-
couple more. It's all images.
That's
It's
too
all graphs
much.
from different days.
Can I see the other one again, please? Because that one was insane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the other
The
one's
first
like-
one was out of
Wall-to-wall,
control.
Like bullshit.
Yeah, so the thing is that once I like only use one screen, then all of the extra ones just pile up in one corner. So this is
Wow.
what I'm working
Oh
with.
my God.
And then
Jesus
I'm
Oh,
saving
yeah,
for
baby.
evidence later.
That's fucking data if I've ever
Oh
seen
my
it.
god.
This is all graphs. All of this is pictures of graphs.
I just see like random shit like
All of it is graphs.
.png. And,
I like how you have like 7 links to Google Chrome.
I know. Well, no, these are
These are
HTML.
memes.
These are HTML pages
I
actually.
see memes and
So
Yeah,
they don't
deep
use
fry
our markdown
PNG.
yes.
file.
Yo,
Where's that?
Uh,
Where's Waldo?
over the left a little bit. Fourth row
On
up.
Waldo.
No, do you see
where's Waldo?
deep fry.png is like the cry one, like, you know, and it's like right
Laughing
in
cry face.
it's in the left quarter, like
Oh.
quadrant, like very far left. Yes. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
click that.
Well, I needed this for a video, so I saved it to my desktop.
Oh, I remember.
Access.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. All right.
I'm a
please
medium
make this
mogul.
go away. I don't want to look at
Yeah.
this anymore.
Sorry about that.
I've never appreciated my desktop as much. I thought I had a normal desktop. Like, okay, cool, I have some widgets.
Yeah, me
but, like,
too. Me too.
You guys
No.
are like polar opposites. I'm somewhere in the middle where I have a little bit of desktop clutter, but I am nowhere near having widgets. That was wow.
That's chaotic. That's chaotic good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to, in all aspects of my life, embody chaotic neutral, please. Joseph, what are your highs and lows?
Hang on. I guess I'll turn on my camera. I was eating, so I didn't want to give you guys an ASMR this
Munch,
early in the
munch,
morning.
Mukbang.
What you eating?
Early morning mukbang.
I had a breakfast burrito, so that's
Wow.
we love it.
I
I just got out of the shower too, so today is
productive.
my week fucking sucked. I'll just leave it at that. it was really bad.
I'm sorry.
I feel like all of like my stress and anxiety has finally caught up with me. So now I just feel sick. Like I just had like attention headaches all week and I hate it. Someone at my mom's school, one of her students tested positive for COVID. So like she had to go get a test. She went and got a test yesterday. So I'm not gonna be coming down to print night. I'm just gonna do it from my room. But she hasn't shown any symptoms, so that's, I think we're in the clear. But they didn't tell her until like a week after she had the student. So
Wow.
Jesus.
That's fucked up.
yeah, like they wouldn't release any of the names. She like found out on Wednesday, and then they weren't telling anyone who. They were just like, oh, there's 3 people in the school that tested. So we're
FERPA
closing
and
literally.
HIPAA.
So
Yeah.
fucking stupid. This is why our country's all gonna fucking die. Like, we can't
Yeah.
understand that we need to, like, public health needs to matter more than fucking privacy.
Yeah, I saw this fucking tweet the other day that was like, refuting this like conservative talking point that it's only 1% that'll, there's only a 1% death rate, but
That's
it's like
huge,
That's a lot of people.
200,000 people are testing positive a day, which is 2,000 people getting a death sentence.
Well, also,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna reach 9/11 every single day levels at this rate.
the mortality rate isn't even like the biggest thing is how quick the hospitals fill up too.
Yes,
because
that's
it's not
the
even
worst
like-
problem.
It's not even the mortality rate too. It's like, yeah, the there are no hospital beds left, so it's just gonna become this unstoppable train. But then also it's like these like cardiomyopathy like after effects of like that fucks up young people and old people the same, like forever. Even if you get over COVID, you're gonna have like lung problems or like all sorts of crazy shit. Everything is fine.
Joseph,
Everything
I'm
is good. We're all having a good time.
sorry that our country is so ass backwards, and that is affecting you negatively, more so than usual. I mean, fortunately, because this is just such a small issue, and we have such limited space, there's a lot less to work on. And like most of the articles if not all, will really be grad profiles. We can maybe squeeze one extra in, but that's it. So
Yeah, I went down and got the InDesign file last night. So I guess my high
Ooh.
was pirating 300 fonts from the Daily Lobo servers. So that is my high this week because I didn't have them on my computer. So
Oh yeah, we're gonna have like all of the fonts.
yes, so now I spent a good hour manually installing 300 fonts last night.
You're like, fuck, I need to get these fonts now.
Literally, it was what a moment. It was great.
Well, thank you for sharing, sir. Sorry. Did everyone go? Am I the only one left? Who's left? Listen, you're shaking your head that I'm not the only one left.
I could be
Who's
wrong,
left?
but Joe, did you really go?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. It's
I went, and I would not like to go again.
Joe's check-in was much the same as mine, where it was like everything is ass and
Yeah, everything's bad. Look at my desktop. My desktop will tell you how bad my fucking week went.
Yeah. My highs were seeing Liam's desktop, and my lows were seeing Joe's desktop.
Yeah, no, I look at my shit every day. How do you think I'm in crisis?
I can't believe I've never like critically examined your desktop because I've seen it multiple times, but I've just never.
Do a textual analysis of my desktop.
I would like to. I would rather do that than any of my final projects.
I'm going to make a website today about bees.
My actual high was taking a break this week. My low was that there were so many other things that filled up my time during that break that it was really more of like, what work am I doing instead of doing the work that I would normally do at the Lobo and just doing that. So I'm like freaking pooped, dude. Once I get through my final thing for my English 320 class, though, it's all smooth sailing from there on, basically. I fucking hate this class.
So bad. Never ever take it. I don't know why anyone would want to.
Bad. Oh fuck, so bad. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that and a high was definitely also like failing that bill on Wednesday, because at least I'm just, it just made me realize I'm just glad that things are on pause for now, and like maybe over the break I can kind of maybe try to find some solution to this like constant issue, because it just, I don't know, we deserve some kind of like more guaranteed concrete funding. And we shouldn't have to be an independently funded paper. That's just not possible. And we also don't need to be like a 401, you know? Like we're more than capable of giving us enough money to stay alive without making it, like putting it in the balance, or having it hang in the balance by putting it in the hands of students. I don't know what that looks like, but I would like to try because I don't know. It doesn't really feel like a particularly fun rite of passage to have to fight for our existence. But anyways, I don't know. I'm just kind of looking to the future at the moment. I'm trying to keep my head up. Like Joseph, a lot of my stress is kind of culminating right now. The only difference is that I'm kind of just getting like, I'm just numb. I'm just going through the motions right now. Did not like having a couple migraines as well, but that's just, I've been waiting for those to hit me anyways. So it's okay. I'm just getting them out of the way. But I don't know. I really don't have much to talk about other than the highs and lows, other than just that Joseph is taking a break on the 24th and 25th, and Gino and I are basically going to be filling in because I don't think anyone else knows InDesign. So I think I have to step in that realm for like the social media posts. But Gino's gonna help with the posting stuff to social media and like newsletter stuff. Like we're gonna try to spread the weight between ourselves like evenly, so I'm not taking on too much. And on top of that, Gino is gonna have limited availability because he's doing the holiday shifts this week. He's gonna be more available towards the end of the week, but he's gonna be working late.
Did Megan tell us why she wasn't going to be here?
No, she just said that she wasn't going to be here. I'm assuming.
Okay, that's
think
cool. I
it
was just
like me
wondering.
not being here last week. It was just like a mental health kind of just take a day off.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's the
Oh,
same
good.
same deal. And that's fine. I mean, yeah, if she needs to do it, then I have no problem with that. But yeah, really like the big thing on the horizon is just after Sunday, last print issue, and then right here on the 7th is the last day of the newsletter. And then we're done until we resume in January. We are still able to do printing, or not printing, publishing, but we're not tied to any ad obligations during the period after the 7th. And I guess the last thing is just we need to just square away when the various special issues are happening. Ideally, sometime in the first week of December. So we need to kind of lock that in. It'd probably be better to do that sooner rather than later while we still have brain cells to figure that out. So we're not worrying about it like towards finals week. And I wrote down some of our ideas, but I don't know if it would be possible to imagine when some of these could happen. I actually crossed out the April Fool's issue because I realized that April Fool's Day falls on wait it's just on Thursday, so it doesn't really matter. I thought that is my planner wrong? I don't know.
I showed on Thursday too.
Yeah. So I remember, it's because they all have to be on like a Monday. So there's no day to do it that would make sense. Like the 5th, like April Fool's on the 5th, like so it's probably not gonna happen. But I've got Black History Month issue, a culture issue, a photo issue, and a sports issue. But I don't know if there's like, other than Black History Month, there's no like good day. I mean, for February, do we want to do like a Black History Month issue like right at the beginning, at like the 1st, because that's on a Monday, or there's like the 8th, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd. Maybe it'd be best to do it like on the 8th or something, in case like some events get and other things get announced like towards the beginning of that month, What do we think?
Well, but if we do it later, then we can have like covered more events. So I suppose it's a choice between like preemptively saying like, hey, this event is happening, or saying like, hey, this event happened and it was cool.
Yeah, maybe I feel like, I don't know, I'm prone to wanting to just promote upcoming events, but then the rest of the issue is probably not going to be events. Like it's probably just going to be like something about the topic in some way,
Yeah.
Is it okay if during that time period I've like got a lot of the news reporters working on the legislative session, right? Can it be mostly culture reporters that do these stories? Because the legislative session is supposed to, unless it gets postponed, it's supposed to go January 19th through March 20th.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see why not. we just might need to draft someone if we're low on reporters. But yeah, it's probably gonna be a culture heavy issue because there will probably be a lot about, I don't know, Black history. Um, Sorry, I can think of a lot of things, but I'm just tired. You know what I mean? Like, there's no probably news event to report on for this kind of issue. It's probably more of a reflection on things, cultural things. So that's fine by me. But is there like a preferred kind of day? We don't have to like settle on anything seriously, but I just want to try to map it out a little bit and then maybe nail it down later, you know?
I like the idea of doing it early just so that if there's events that are coming up, like it can kind of promote them, I guess.
Yeah. So would the 1st or the 8th be preferable?
Also, I think I'm going to take a vacation
What?
February 6th through February 14th. So heads up, I won't be here that week.
Okay. That'll be an issue for another time, but I'm not sure
Might
who'll
take
fill
Andrew
in for you.
too. So heads up on that too.
Huh?
I might take Andrew with me.
Okay. I'm too tired to even think about how to figure that out.
February's a long way away. We can figure it out later.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do, I mean, unless that maybe it would be better to have a special issue because then we could front load those stories because they're not necessarily timely and then run that the week that we're gone on the 8th.
That's true. We would just want to like make sure that they come in early and not do the thing where we give people 2 weeks and then have them turn it in on Saturday. Like those kinds of stories, like, come on, they can get done in like week and a half. So, yeah, maybe the 8th then, just tentatively. I'll just write it down somewhere, just so I can try to think about how everything's gonna work. So like February 8th. I have to wait for like Gino to come back to figure out when a sports issue could happen. I don't know what a good time to do a sports issue would be. And then Megan's not here, so we can't talk about a culture issue. But Liam, is there like some time period we want to do a photo issue?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I think we should do it in the spring. Like,
Right, no, but like when in the spring?
Oh shit.
Sorry, we're planning for spring special issues right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
my bad.
wait. Oh, is spring? Okay, so like spring is March, right?
Spring semester is like January.
No, I mean like the season.
Oh,
Like, when trees start blooming and shit,
yeah, I guess like March.
March is Women's History Month though too. So maybe April for photos.
Hey, let's do that. Women's History Month, please.
I'm down for April for photo. Yeah, and then hey, that could be like we could do it around Earth Day.
Nice,
And
dude.
then like have
I
like a
don't know.
photo retweet
Yeah,
for
something
Earth
like
Day.
that. We'll figure
Yeah.
out. So, Women's History Month is March, and then photo issue is like when we're doing that? April?
April, yeah.
Okay. Let me look on the calendar. May is when the semester is over, right? Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
maybe.
So when exactly is the semester over? Because maybe we can plan it so it's not bumping up against the end too much, because there'll probably be another grad issue smack in, towards the end of that. Or, let me look at the calendar for our like newsletters and stuff. The tentative one that Javin sent me. And then I could also figure out like when that last issue will be. Okay, so boop boop boop. All right, so tentatively, I think finals week is the 17th of week of the 17th of May, or something like that. Or no, the 10th. I think it's the week of the 10th. So our last print issue, Oh, we're doing a special circulation print issue on the 17th. So I'm assuming that's like the mail out.
Do we have to do too
Interesting.
many of these just because they suck so badly?
Do we have to what?
Have too many special issues? Like it's just because they're not news, right? And they're always painful and they make me want to kill myself. Like,
I
what's
think
the
this-
minimum that we can do and have Davin not like ride our asses?
Not sure. My assumption would be like 4, you know? And I'm with you. Like, I don't want to do too many.
They're
There's
just
only like,
from a news perspective, right? Because they're by definition they're not news. They're planned, and they're on.
well, they're fun for me, but they are kind of stressful. I don't know what the minimum amount is. I would like to do Black History Month though, like no matter what number we're at, and Women's History Month, like at the minimum.
I thought the environment issue was like one of the best we've ever seen.
That was
really
fun. The
cool, but I
process
don't
of
know
that
if
was
the
not
content
fun.
was great, right?
Like,
Like,
Issue
did you
was
see
awesome.
did you see the front cover? Like,
yes, it was gorgeous. It was
It
absolutely
was
gorgeous. But there was no
beautiful.
content in there that was very like well written or interesting. We were pulling shit out of our ass the last
look,
minute.
Well,
we didn't need content. We had a photo of me at the crest.
There was there was Maddie's first article though, the
Yeah,
grass one.
someone's-
That one was great.
Yeah,
And so
that's
was the it was the one that we had the cow picture for. The one that we stretched the cow out.
man,
It's not content. That's a fucking stretched cow.
No, well, but the article that went along with that, I can't remember what it was, but it was something about like an outdoors act or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
great outdoors act or
Yeah.
something like that.
It's still not a very good article.
I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Well,
I'm glad you liked it. It could have been better. We
I
pulled
don't know.
I mean, we had Heaven write that and we rewrote it, and I don't know if we have the energy to do that now.
Right. Well, that's a different issue that's not really relegated to the special issue though. Like that's just our overall quality control problem that's going on that we need to kind of figure out at some point. But the photo issue is like that's straightforward. Like that's just like are they even going to be stories, you know, like barely. Maybe like little blurbs,
Yeah,
you know.
That one I think we should do because I think it'll be low stress and it doesn't have to have news.
Exactly. We'll do a photo issue. So, right, you want to do it in April, right? Is that what you say, or March? What was it?
For the photo issue?
Yeah.
April. Yeah,
Okay.
April, I think.
So maybe what we can do is do it towards the beginning of April, so it's really far away from what I'm assuming is the mail out like big
Sure.
grad issue. I'm assuming
Yeah,
that's what that special circulation one is. So, beginning of April, the first one would be the 5th. Would that work?
Yeah, I don't have any plans.
Okay. I'm just gonna tentatively write April 5th. I'll just make sure. Let's see, April.
Oh, by the way, I've been kind of like not paying attention to the landscaping as much. But Nick got an internship or what?
Yeah, with the Santa Fe Reporter.
Oh shoot, when? What is he? Like, is he heading out now?
I don't know.
Okay.
I forgot. I don't
I'll
know
ask
that,
him then.
but it's very exciting. I don't think
Yes,
he's
yeah.
heading out
And Liam,
necessarily.
I know when we early talked about it, and I don't know, things have evolved since then, but you said something about maybe having him practice as photo desk editor over the break. Will you talk to him about that too, and make your, like figure out how you guys want to do that if you still want to do it?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, definitely, he would be the best choice for interim photo editor, I think. Yeah, I'll ask him if he's interested too, and see like what the whole thing is with the Santa Fe Reporter thing too.
Okay.
Whether he's going to do both or what he's planning. Oh, one more thing about internships. Have Alex or Lissa, have you guys gotten a call from the Washington Post at all yet for
No.
like the references? Damn it. Okay.
I don't know if they're even gonna call.
That's
mean,
either a good thing or a bad thing. They're saving me for last, or they're not.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'll let you know if I get a call though.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize to reroute the conversation sharply.
No, it's okay.
I just want to figure out the last remaining. I think this is the last remaining one we can iron out for now. We should do Women's History Month issue on the 8th of March because that's International Women's Day. And that would be cool. Woo, International Women's Day.
That works for
All
me.
right,
Um,
cool.
I think I need March 22nd and April 12th to be reserved to allow us to just do regular news because those will be right after the session ends and then after the pocket veto deadline ends. And so I want to be able to actually have stories related to that.
Okay, so I could put down the 8th of March tentatively for Women's History Month. And then the other two, I'll talk to Gino and Megan. And I think we can only really do one of those two. Like the sports or the culture issue, because 5 special issues.
It's too much.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get pooped. I mean, one of them is photo, so it like helps reduce like the article load, but I would like to have like just 3 actual special issues and then 1 just kind of photos. So I'll just talk to them later, but thank you. I just wanted to try to make some headway with that if possible, so I'm not scrambling to figure that out at the last minute and Davin's like, what the fuck? Like, you suck at your job, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm sorry. Everything's awful right now.
You guys want to look?
But I think that's about it. I mean, that talk is coming up. You know, I've got it set for the 4th still at 12, the 4th of December. So mark your calendars so we can all get therapy together.
Is this with somebody on campus?
It's with Dr. McIver.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Sarah Gustavus was available for us at 2:00 last Friday, but no one really showed any interest, and honestly, whatever.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's totally okay. And I think she's gone now. I think she went to Washington and she got engaged, and she'll be back.
Wow. Holy
But
shit.
I don't think she's available for a little bit again. So I'll just circle back with her and see if she wants to come in and, talk about whatever at some point.
Okay.
All
right.
Can I just get her to come for an all hands?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Then we don't
Why
have
not? That'd be nice. Yeah. I think that's all I had to talk about so far as I know. I mean, everything's dying down, really. But the good thing is that I had that last pub board meeting recently, and at least with how things are going with the newsletter and with the funding that we've secured, we might actually like make money this year and not accrue more debt. Shocking. And
Let's go.
according to Davin, we might actually get to like 20,000 at some point on the email newsletter. That's just really a matter of time. That's her projection, is that
How many do we have right now?
Huh?
How many do we have right now?
Over 9,000.
Nice.
And that's really good. Once we cross 10,000, we're getting into actual, we can monetize this territory. And then, every other 10,000 mark is just more and more each time, which will help. Like, it's especially good because, we may have to shift to, who knows what'll happen with the print issues next semester, depending on how the pandemic is going. But the good thing is that because of the newsletter contact list, I don't think that we'll have to worry too much actually about filling in the gaps for that ad money, because we can sell ads for the newsletter, but also we can sell ads for those digital editions, and they feel like they're going to reach a similar amount of people, you know what I mean? Like as they would reach on campus. So we're actually still holding on to a lot of our advertisers despite having to do that digital edition twice. So it's a good sign overall. And I don't know. And once we get like across 20,000, then we could start talking about making multiple newsletters and then all of the money. Woo! But yeah, I don't know. We're kicking ass, fellas. It's pretty crazy to think about when we first started the local news fund stuff. It felt like I wasn't really sure how much I wasn't really sure how much
Cash
progress
money.
we'd make with it, or like how much impact it would have. And then we're really doing and achieving all the things that we kind of set out to do. And it's only going to get better from here. Who had the same thought? What's going on? Oh, I know. When I had to say in the pub board meeting that we had over 9,000 contacts, I was like, haha. But no one else got the joke, so I had to hold it in.
Give me
Very
that
embarrassing.
for the MacGyver thing.
Huh?
What's the date and time again for the MacGyver mental health thing?
12 p.m. on the 4th of December.
What day is that?
Remember
It's Friday.
the 4th of December.
We're gonna blow up the Capitol building or some shit. To the FBI, that was a joke.
Didn't get
That
that
was a joke. That
reference
was a
at
joke. That
all.
was a joke.
Totally missed it.
Jokes. Please don't show up in my apartment.
SWAT team's gonna fly through your window.
You hear like really quietly in the background, like helicopter.
Fucking Rebecca Stevens on Twitter the other day was like, "Is that a threat? I'm going to report you to the FBI like all the
What?
other Antifa people."
What a
And I was
snitch.
like, "Okay, yeah, you know
Please
what they
do.
say about snitches."
They're gonna show up.
They get raided by the federal government.
Oh my god! Wow. But yeah, that's that. I guess. We're
Like, so
doing
you
really
remember
good, all
the
things
next step?
considered.
Remember with the SFRB, there's like multiple steps now that didn't exist when I was in it, so I don't know them. But like first was the SFRB, ASUNM people, and then it was supposed to go to this middle committee before it goes to the regents. What's the
Mhm.
name of that middle committee?
Fuck, I forgot the name, because I remember someone mentioned it.
I just saw a tweet that they'd like, I think the Asian Pacific Islander Community Cultural Center American, I'm getting all those letters mixed up. They said that they got approved by that middle committee. So I wondered if that meant that they'd actually finished. So I was going to see if a reporter wanted to look into it, but I don't know what they're called.
I think that was Emma that posted that on Facebook.
Okay.
From what I saw. And I think that's how I came to that conclusion as well. Budget leadership team. And then now it's the Board of Regents. Oh, it's APA CC. Asian Pacific American Culture Center.
Which is a
Let's
really
go.
unfortunate acronym because APAC is a very troubling organization.
Why? What are they?
AIPAC, look them up.
On it.
Okay. Am I gonna be disturbed by
Mo-
this?
Probably. Motion to take a 7-minute recess.
Do you guys want to look
American
at,
Israel Public Affairs Committee.
Okay. What's up, Lisa?
you want to look at my PowerPoint?
Yes. Let's go. We got 6 minutes. Speed run.
I'm gonna motion to make a fresh pot, so I'll be in the kitchen,
Please, God.
which is right there.
Need coffee. I might even take a nap after this. Okay. This looks good.
Okay.
The slide is good.
Joseph, do you agree? Like, do my colors work? Is there enough?
It's very good.
Yeah, I enjoy this color palette. I'm impressed by your design skills, Lisa.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I did change the color though. It was orange before, and I made it into like that blood red color. So I guess
I like that. I like
Okay.
that.
Where do you get your news? And there's a little animation here.
Whoa! Look at that! Wow.
And then heads up, I did include the paper, but I called it pink slime to have a conversation about it. So I don't really think it's a good place to get news, but I do know that like it exists and I wanted people to know. So just, this is not an endorsement. I also have the blog by Joe Monahan, not an endorsement, just a source.
I understand. Fun.
Okay. What do you think the role of journalism is? And I used Mr.
Look at that
Doofy.
font.
Yeah, that's
Is there
true.
more bottom in here? I didn't see it.
Speak the truth,
Are you
hold
using more
power
bottom?
accountable, and grow our readership. So is that what you guys think that the role of journalism is? This is kind of based on what Danny said. I got that quote from Andrew, which is apparently from, some 19th century Irish bartender.
Yeah, I mean, this is all of our. You've got the like core principles, and then our kind of obligation to stakeholders, aka the community, in the growing readership thing. I mean, it's not something like people talk about that much, but I mean it's there. Like it's kind of. I think people avoid.
If we misinterpreted grow readership, it would justify us using clickbait. But on the flip side of that, if we totally ignore it, then we don't have the
Right.
ability to smack the shit out of Nasha Torres when she issues no contact directives. Like
Yeah, there's
we
a balance.
people.
There's definitely a balance of like reporting on things that need to get reported on, and also understanding your audience and writing to them.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't mean catering to them. Okay, good call. I'll make that
Yeah.
point. And if you guys want to, if you're still there, if you want to jump in, if I'm not doing this all by myself,
I'll be there. I'll be half alive, but I will be there.
So Danny, the next thing she wanted to cover, she covered was the differences between us and the way that other things are written, because I guess we get a lot of new reporters that like still think they're writing essays for their teachers.
Yeah.
So she was like, we don't count pages, we count words and we count inches. So we're trying to not be flowery, we're trying to be efficient.
Yes.
And this is where she then wove in the subject, verb, object, active, not passive voice, past tense, and then read your story out loud before you submitted it.
That last one, please, God. Jesus. That helps so many things. Holy shit.
Okay, and then this is the anatomy, right? The beginning. What's the goal? To communicate what's happened, tell the reader in the lead the most important part, translate the language of those in power to make it understandable, right? So I don't know if that last one needs to go here. It just is a tip at some point to just be like, make yourself more understandable. This little link right here for lead explains why that's the spelling. I had to look it up and I didn't realize it had to do with like hot press, which I didn't know what that was. And it has, I guess it was to just not be confused with hot lead back when yeah. So that's why that got changed. But it's so archaic now because we use computers. We don't use.
Right.
There's something else that I remember Danny talking about, which was like, I mean, besides the fact that people like you want your lead to be interesting so that people keep reading, she said like the headline and the lead are pretty much like at the attention span that people have. Usually they won't read the whole article.
Right.
So like it needs to sum up that whole article in those couple moments. So even if they're they're interested, but they're not going to read all the way through, they have the basic knowledge to know what it means.
To kind of overview the whole
Yeah.
article in some
I'm going to
way.
try to remember to say that. But if I don't, will you, and you're Liam, if you're there, will you say that?
Sure, I will. Yeah.
Yeah. We got 2 minutes, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, 4 people are in the waiting room, but I'm making them wait.
Yeah, make them wait.
So this is like to make it a little more interactive, right? They should actually practice. Like I'm going to give them the story. And I think the story, because most of them know it, is the ASUNM meeting that happened on Wednesday. And then I want them to submit leads to that. Does that sound
like
good?
In all hands or
Yeah,
just
like in the chat.
Oof. All right. Do you think people do it? We're gonna have to force them to do it.
I don't know if all of them will do it, but maybe a couple of them will do it. Maybe, like
I'll try.
if
Try my hand at it.
The first all hands meeting with homework.
It's at home. You don't have to do it at home. You just do it right then. Write a lead.
at home.
What happened at ASUNM? Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Well, I guess it is work at home. We're all doing work at home.
Oh yeah.
These are the 2 examples that Danny gave of excellent leads. I think Andrew has just been slamming the lead that the Journal used for the obituary that they ran today on Hannah.
Dog shit.
Let me
Shit. It is
check it out.
fucking awful. We would never publish some bullshit like that.
Would you be willing to like talk about why that lead is so bad?
Yeah.
If I have to.
That sounds fun. Yay. Okay. I'll add that in there. And then this is just sort of in here. It doesn't have to, actually, maybe I need to rearrange this, but this is another tip. Doesn't have anything to do with the lead. It's just sort of like, this is like our job is to make sure that in aspiring to tell the truth that we diminish our mistakes. And the way that we do that is we try to get reporters to know what they're talking about. Reporters have some responsibility to double check names, get multiple sources, have integrity, don't lie about shit. Then we have an editorial process. And then if we still fuck it up, we issue a correction and we explain what that is. And if it's really bad, we issue a retraction and we pull it. Am I missing anything on all the things that we do to make sure that we're accurate?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Okay, moving right along.
I think my role is severely downplayed in fact check.
Okay, do you want me to let you have time to explain how the copy editor saves the day?
Fine.
Okay, copy editors are awesome.
It is 12:01.
Okay, I'll let them in. I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully I don't say anything after this that is scary. There's only 2 more slides. Quotes.
Just click the slides really quickly. Okay, yeah, all right, cool. Next one.
That's it.
All right, yeah, that looks good. All right, let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Let's freaking do this.
Stopping share.
Fuck, what's the Daily Lobo login for Albuquerque Journal? Fuck. Fucking forgot.
You don't like you can get out of their like whatever you call it, the graphics that like block them, like super easy. You just click outside of
I'm on
the
my
graphic.
phone.
Like, oh yeah, no, I'm not.
Wait, Joe, what did you say?
We have a fucking journal account.
Yeah.
Hi, you can just get past the paywall if you just press escape after refreshing. Paywall's last thing in the HTML that loads last.
Well, this way you don't have to do that hacking. You don't have to be
We
a
have to pay
hacker.
them cash. Why would you ever pay them money?
I don't even need to do that. Like literally just clicking outside of that paywall just minimizes it.
I'm on my phone. It won't work. There's no way to click
Ooh.
into this. I hate this website.
desktop,
Sorry, just
like a-
complaining about the Albuquerque Journal. It's another Sunday.
Good to see
every
you,
day.
everybody. We're still admitting a few more people.
All right.
We'll
I'm gonna
introduce
change
ourselves
my name
for those
because
of you that are brand new too.
Joe, you should probably change your name back because there's new people and no one knows who you are. Well, people know who you are, but not these people.
Oh, I have a funny quick story for everyone in the chat.
Please
So this kind of reminded me like how little like I've actually like gotten to meet you guys. But I went to this portrait shoot that one of our reporters, Sarah, is doing. Portrait shoot for a grad profile that Sarah is doing. And on my way home, I stopped at this tea shop in Old Town, and I walked in and bought some tea, and the lady at the counter asked for my name, and I gave her my name, and she looked up and she's like, "I'm your coworker at the Daily Lobo." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm Sarah." So that just made me realize how I've never met some of you, even though you've been here for so long. So that's funny, but also like totally coincidental, but also yeah.
Wait, you mean Sarah Bodkin?
Yes, Sarah. Yeah.
No way, that's so funny.
Yeah, I know. Like, I came from the portrait shoot of her article and just happened to run into her.
Wow.
Preston's on the call right now, and Preston came over to my house the other day to do a portrait of my daughter for like a slide thing. And
Oh, cool.
I'd never seen her before, huh, Preston? I didn't know what you look like. I was like, come on into my house. It's great. I'm sure you're the right
Only
person.
ever met in person from the Daily Lobo.
I'm the only person she's ever met.
Oh, wow.
Wow. damn. Wow. That just reminded
At some
me
point,
that-
Preston, undo your video so we can see your face whenever it's like cool.
At some point, this is
Yeah.
a.
Oh yeah, I'm
this
in
is
my
hell week.
pajamas, so
Yeah.
I'll change in a bit.
So am I. I'm just in bed. The plot twist is I'm always in bed for these weeks. So, in case you didn't know. Hey. Wow.
Here we go. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hey, hi, hello. Wow.
Oh, quick announcement also for all the photographers. Our photo meeting is pushed up a little bit. So we don't have culture or sports today. So photo will be at 1 o'clock, right? I think.
Yes.
1 o'clock.
Yes.
I don't even know when my own meeting is.
Sorry. No,
Yeah,
usually you
it's
do
news
know,
at
but now it's
12:30.
different.
So, and it's 12:05 now. So we should introduce
Okay.
ourselves and get into this exciting little writing workshop we got planned.
Yes. Let's go. Let's go. Let's freaking go, dude.
So Alex,
Um,
introduce yourself.
Do I have to introduce myself first? I guess so. I'm the boss guy. Hello, sorry. I'm Alex McCausland, and I'm the editor-in-chief of the Daily Lobo. I'm also running on 3 hours of sleep, so I apologize. Today is not a good day. It's a lot of homework, but yeah, I'm the guy that picks up the phone. I'm like, "Hello, this is the Daily Lobo," and the other person on the other side of the phone is like, "Why the fuck did you write this article like this?" And like, you need to change it because I said so. And I'm like, "Okay, no," you know. And I also am the person that basically signs off on all the articles before they come out. I edit every article, so I see everything that everybody writes, unless I take a break like I did this week. What else do I do? I don't know. I do the external stuff.
Pub board meetings and
Yes,
ASU
meetings, lots of meetings, grant funding meetings, because we're working with grant money right now, and just general big picture stuff. And then Megan is not here, but she is the culture editor. So she kind of oversees anything that falls under that desk, which is like, culture and arts type stuff. Gino is not here either, and Gino is the managing editor, which is basically just an extension of me to some regard. Like, he kind of deals with organizational stuff and interpersonal stuff at the paper. And he also kind of does the sports desk, sort of, but one, there's not a lot to write about, and two, I think he's got enough on his plate, so it's kind of spread a little thin. But that leads me to Lissa, who is the news editor. Lissa?
I think all the new people have met me and Andrew because we both did interviews.
This is true, right? So Lissa, the news desk, and Andrew, the copy editor. Joe is our data editor. Joe, what do you do?
Nothing.
No. What do you do? What do you do?
I
Please
chill
say
in the
something.
office. I hang out with my friends at the office sometimes. Not lately though. Sometimes I make grafs. I do talk a lot of shit though. That's about it.
Joe makes a lot of memes. He also has one of the best COVID tracker pages in the state. So I'm
The
told.
best. Unequivocally the best.
It's very good. In the pub board meeting, Ryan Regalado asked me where you get your data, because he said you have your data update faster than KOB, and he doesn't know where you're getting it from. It's crazy.
KOB sucks. Nobody read KOB.
Yeah. Anyways, and then Liam is the photo editor.
Hello. I take photos and I also edit photos. And that's pretty much my whole deal.
Liam
So
also coordinates photos for articles.
yes, that too. Yeah.
Yes. And Joseph McKee, our esteemed, lauded design guy.
Wow, thank you for that introduction. I'm honored. Hi, I'm Joseph. I am the graphic designer and the multimedia editor for the Daily Lobo. So I run the newsletter, all of our social media accounts, and I design the paper as well.
Yes, and by design the paper, that is the print edition of the paper. We're kind of not like printing right now because we're on lockdown. No one can pick it up. But before that, we would make a printed paper. It comes out on Monday, and on Sunday, Joseph is involved with kind of arranging the layout of all the articles, making sure everything fits, making sure everything looks pretty and not ugly. It cannot be ugly. And yeah, I think that's everybody. I hope I didn't miss anyone. That's everyone that's here. That's basically the editorial staff. And I think Alyssa wanted to do a presentation today because we have a couple new people here. Just a general overview of stuff. Hopefully it won't be too redundant for the people that have already been doing some articles for a bit, but there's some good info in there. And I think it's very valuable. Take it away,
There's
Alyssa.
a couple of updates too before we get into the
Oh shoot, sorry.
one is that Dr. MacGyver, who is from Shack, right? She helps with, we actually just ran a story recently on dealing with endings. And because our friend and colleague over at KUNM a couple weeks ago, Hannah Colton, committed suicide, we have a scheduled debrief and sort of community support session with Dr. MacGyver on December the 4th at 12 p.m. on Friday. So anyone who wants to join us for that is certainly welcome. We can get you the Zoom link, of course. It'll be in all the chats. And just wanted to let you know about that. Also, sort of related, but kind of a little bit separate, is the local news fund has a scholarship out right now for like $700, and you don't have to say what you're going to use the money for. They are calling it like their mental health scholarship, just to sort of take some of the pressure off. So if you are in this call right now, you are qualified for that money. You can show them a byline from the Lobo, or if you're brand new, you can just have them call me and I'll tell them that we hired you, and you can get easy $700 cash. And that's specifically just to have one less thing to worry about. And then, and if anyone can find that, can you drop it in the chat, the link? That'd be cool.
I can find it. They're very generous.
Yeah, they're really super cool. They have a lot of money and they just love that we are doing what we're doing. Alex mentioned in our editor's chat that we now have 9,000 people that are signed up for our newsletter, which is huge compared to where we started. When the pandemic first started, we didn't even have a newsletter. So like in March, we had 0. And then for like all summer, we had like 1,200 people. And now we're up to 9,000. And that makes our advertising team really happy, because once it gets to 10,000, then it becomes like something that they can market and really start selling ads on. Because it has enough viewers that makes it worthwhile for businesses to advertise. So great job on your content. Just letting you know that that's where we're at. And if you know anybody who hasn't signed up for the newsletter, encourage them to do it. You just go onto our website and it pops up. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, just do that, so that even when you leave, graduate, you'll still be getting the Daily Lobo newsletter. Yeah. And I think those are the main announcements that came up in the editors meeting. Am I missing anything?
Do you mind if I just add to the talk that Dr. MacGyver is going to do? It's, partially about Hannah, but it's also kind of about just generally mental health issues in newsrooms and the kinds of mental health challenges that journalists specifically face, especially regarding social media and intense social media scrutiny and harassment and things like that. So even if you don't know Hannah very well, there's also going to be other topics that will be of interest to you, because no matter what you write about, at some point, someone's going to shit all over you on social media, and it's going to suck. And it's good to know kind of how to cope with that and not try to push through it or to try to be strong, because it hurts no matter what you do. And so yeah, that'll be a topic of conversation then. And additionally, some of us are actually graduating this semester, and we have some grad profiles on some of those people, but one of them is our own Bella Davis, and we're gonna miss her. Man, Bella's one of our best reporters, and she hasn't even been working here very long, but she's graduating at the end of fall, and it's gonna be sad, but if you get the chance, you should tell her how great she is before she's out of here.
I will be staying in the shitposting chat. I haven't really gotten word on if that's legal or illegal. Hope it's legal. Really want to stay.
I'm ruling it as legal.
Thank you. That's huge.
I'm using my executive powers to say that it's legal.
Thank you. Okay, cool.
Huge news. The gavel.
It is legal. I thought there was one other thing, but I forgot. So we could just move on with the presentation. My bad.
Okay. So the plan for the presentation is just to sort of go over some basics, right? Like what news writing is. Some of you may be brand new to it, and this may be the first time you're being exposed to it. Some of you maybe have been doing it for a while, and hopefully in the refresher might come up with some other ideas and angles and stuff. Sometimes we feel like we didn't do a very good job for some of you that came in, you know, between July and now, and explaining to you what writing news is all about, or writing culture too. They really follow a very similar sort of pattern. But I may not get through this whole thing. We'll just get as far as we can. So first question, to be all interactive, are you guys reading other news outlets? And if so, what are they? Like, share with everybody else so we know good ideas of places to get interesting news that's relevant to us, that we respect. So this is your turn. I say it's a presentation, it's really about you. So where do you get your news? It says, please submit the publications and channels that you typically read or like to read, and any articles or reporters that you really like.
I exclusively watch Joe Rogan's YouTube channel.
Boo.
Is there a way for me to see the chat while I'm presenting? I'm so like.
I think so. Someone said, does OAN news count?
What is that?
Fuck. I don't know what that stands for. Fuck.
You guys haven't seen that one? That's the one that
Guys,
Trump
it's-
keeps on retweeting.
It's worse than Fox News.
Yeah, they're basically
so
they're
much
saying that's the
worse.
one that Trump's probably going to push to get above Fox News now.
Oh no.
One American News.
Really bad.
What is
One American News Network.
Yeah, One American News. Yikes.
Yikes.
Oh.
Good. I read the New York Times sometimes.
I think I read it electronically, right? Like I don't get the paper unless Sharon's pictures are in it. If Sharon's photos are in it, then I'll pick up a hard copy. If you guys haven't met Sharon Chischilly, she's on the call right now, and she's like super famous because she has photography that is in publications all around the world. And she was with us first. And she's still with us, but I don't know. Sharon, when you go to the Navajo Times, are you going to leave the Lobo?
No.
Yes.
Yay.
I think I'll be doing fewer work though, but
Yeah.
Here and there.
That's
Oh
awesome.
my God. Adam
I
said
just
the
breathed a
Onion.
big sigh of relief.
Okay. So what I have down here from the last time we did this, a lot of people get their news. The channel is like from Twitter or podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, obviously, TikTok, email newsletters like the Daily Lobo newsletter. I sometimes will get the notification from the journal that's in email. Email clips. I actually, in the news chat desk, like email, I get clips from across the state, and I'm supposed to use those to, you know, design pitches for you. And our own clips are in there too, which is cool. Press releases or conferences, like going to the governor's updates once a week. That's a place that you can find out what other people are covering and what is news. And then I sometimes, occasionally, when I have time, which I haven't recently, will do a scan of other college papers because they may have similar audiences as we do, right? And to see what they're covering and how they're covering it. Beyond that, sorry. This is my little graphic that I'm not handling very well. My bad. Okay. Click, click, click. So these are major news outlets that oftentimes Daily Lobo reporters have been following, like the Washington Post, BBC, New York Times. I like the LA Times because I came from California, and I think that their readers have interests and just have a similar sort of culture in some ways because they're sort of also part of the Southwest. They're also a border state. So I think that they're even more relevant sometimes than the New York Times. The local news outlets are, if you don't already know them, right, are the Albuquerque Journal, which we like to shit on all the time, but we also like to know what they're covering. The Santa Fe New Mexican, we've had reporters that work there. They say that it's a really horrible work environment, but sometimes the news they produce is better than the Journal, right? Las Cruces Sun News, their copy editor down there really likes us. He runs the women's press corps. Do you guys know anything about Damien, what his backstory is? Anyone? Damian Willis is his last name.
No clue, dude. He's a character.
He is a character, and he wears like this bow tie and has like this part in the middle of his hair, and he's super nerdy, but him and Andrew like each other. They have like some copy editor like bond. He's a cool guy. I still think it's a little weird that he runs the women's press group because he's like not identifying as a female, but whatever. Okay, so those are local news outlets that if you're not currently scanning, you might want to see what they're covering and how they're covering it. Here are some others too. These are also local. These are not print publications. So New Mexico In Depth, the New Mexico Political Report. I think I forgot to put Searchlight in here. Those are all online publications. They have different funding mechanisms, and some of what they do is good, right? New Mexico Political Report is covering specifically like local politics. KUNM is like our sister in some ways because they're also located at UNM and they're the public radio station. KNME is also a UNM based public station, and that's PBS, right? That's TV. I don't have any of the TV news on here because honestly, all they ever do is they just like farm our tweets and get ideas and then run them in their trash. So they at least, I mean, they do have good video, and that's something we don't, they're TV. So, I mean, I think that they do that in some ways better. They always have really short stories though, and they often are just mean to us. So heads up on that. If you want to go into TV broadcast news, there's a long history of print news being critical of TV broadcast. Okay, what else? Back to where I was. Not bad. Okay, New Mexico Politics with Joe Monahan. This is not news. Yeah, what did I do?
Stop screen sharing.
What? I'm not screen sharing?
Stop screen sharing?
Oh, my bad. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try that again. Woo woo. Okay, so down here on the right, boop, 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 boop. New Mexico Politics with Joe Monahan. All of these are links, right? So you can actually click on them and go to them. Joe was a former Daily Lobo reporter. He's not well liked by the Journal because he often scoops them. And one of the things that he does, because it's a blog and he's been around for so long, is that he doesn't source his, he doesn't actually attribute his quotes. He'll say that they're from a senior alligator, which is what he calls his sources. That's not the journalistic integrity in that is not great. But he often knows before anybody else what's going on in politics in New Mexico. And more times than not, he's right. And he usually does, he'll print a correction if he's wrong. The paper sucks and is awful. It's just come into existence in the last month. And it sort of is replacing the weekly that used to be the Alibi, but you might see it's out there printed. I call it pink slime because it seems to be related to the idea of pink slime journalism, which is where you have a politicized partisan group that tries to pass off their work as journalism. And I say that knowing that if Carolyn Carlson was here, she would be offended that I said that. She writes for them and she's an actual real journalist. So just know that that exists. Okay, so moving right along. What do you think the role of journalism is? This is something that we talked about very briefly in the editor's chat. And I just want you guys to take a look at it because this is sort of house style as much as it's also universal across all journalistic outlets, right? So number one, at the Lobo, we think our most important role is to hold power accountable. And Andrew sometimes will say this quote, it's actually attributed to, a fictional guy in the late 1800s, right? Who says the job of the newspaper is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. So whenever you're at an ASUNM meeting and those, elected representatives who have the power to make decisions about millions of dollars are you're making me stay up late. It's our job to make them stay up late. It's our job to make them uncomfortable. It's our job to hold them accountable. Little backstory, again, if you're brand new, you should go, go through Twitter and look at Joe Roll's tweets about ASUNM. And then they complained, right? Because he was critical of one of the elected or appointed representatives that was making decisions about Student Fee Review Board money. It got super scandalous. You can also read our editorial on it, but it's long story short, the The Dean of Students issued a no contact directive to Joe, which we then got a bunch of attorneys and pushed back and just like smacked her so hard because you cannot infringe upon the freedom of the press. We get to say critical stuff. It is our job to be critical of those who are in power. So the job of the newspaper is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. The second thing, and also extremely important, is to speak the truth, except it's maybe not the big T truth, like there's only one. When there are multiple truths, and there always are multiple truths, we at this newspaper privilege the truths of those who are the most vulnerable. And this is the editorial I told you guys in the interviews to read, and that Bella helped us to write in the summer. It's something that we created waves with across the journalistic community in New Mexico, because historically there's been this sort of myth of both sidesism, where you don't have any bias, you don't say anything, you just say your quote from the cops and your quote from the person who's family member of the person who got shot from the cops, because you can't actually quote the person who's dead, and you leave it at that. And we don't do that. We think it's important that we also recognize that there is justice, and there are some situations, especially when it comes to racism, that there is a right and a wrong. And we don't need to include the quotes of the cops. If everyone else is covering it and they're lying straight up to us, we can absolutely center the rest of this story and let other people find their bullshit. Understanding journalistic truth is a process or continuing journey towards understanding. So just wanted to make the point that the truth that we have, that we print on the first day, is not always the final truth, right? It may be the first story's truth, and then we learn more, and then we print more, and we cover more. So sometimes we make mistakes, but also sometimes we don't have the complete story. And due to the nature of deadlines, we have to get stuff out there so that people know at least what we know. And then finally, and this is not the most important thing, but as I already mentioned earlier today about how many people are like subscribed to our newsletter, we have the goal of growing our readership, right? This means all of our stories get more coverage. This means our influence is strong, so that when, the Dean of Students tries to like threaten one of our editors, we can push back because we've got the power of the pen. This also means that we can sell ads, which keeps us in business and allows us to keep doing what we do, right? It doesn't drive the stories that we pick. We're not trying to cater to our advertisers, but we do need to remember that if we choose stories that are boring, that no one wants to read, then, no one's going to pick up the paper, or they're not going to respect us. They're not going to read the other stories too. So try to be interesting whenever you can. Okay. Damn. Google Slides, and I just closed it. I hate that. Sorry, you guys. So talk amongst yourselves for just a second. Woo woo. Where's the slides? There they are.
Really great weather we're having today. I mean,
Hey,
it's really
Lissa.
just wonderful outside.
I don't know if you're planning to talk till 12:30, but it's like 12:28.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Good call.
Okay.
So we can do this in a couple different ways. I don't remember which one I used for here. I haven't even got into the basics of how to write. Oh, here it is. I did it in my personal account. Well, News Desk is next, so I'll take some of my own time. These are foundational ideas. Okay, so important for you to know if you're writing for the first time, or if you've been writing for us for a while and maybe you've just sort of forgotten, or you never got this training, right? The difference between news and other types of writing is that we write concisely. And we're writing, like I said, to grow our readers and to be interesting. So we don't get to just in a black box by ourselves choose a really arcane topic that no one else cares anything about and just write to our heart's content 3,000 words on that, right? So unlike novels and essays, we don't do page counts. We do word and inch counts, right? We care about column inches. Now, online is a little less restrictive than it is when we are printing. But in general, our stories are 800 words to 1,000 words long. A brief is 500 words. So we want to do this just because space is of a premium, and attention spans are short, both just because no one has time to sit down and read all of the newspaper, but also it's just sort of like culturally, we're used to tweets. We don't want to spend a ton of time reading stuff. So we try to write punchy, short, concise, understandable prose. How do you write concisely? All these suggestions, by the way, come from Danny Prokop, who is now a working journalist up in Nebraska, but she was a previous news editor and reporter at the Daily Lobo just this last year. We use short and clear language, use subject, verb, object, right? Active, not passive voice. Past tense, whenever you're writing a story, the cut lines for a picture are in present tense, but the rest of the story is always in past tense. And so it already happened. And then just a tip, and we all would love for you to do this all the time, and we need to do it too for all of our stories, is read your story out loud before you submit it to your editor, because that will absolutely give you tons of immediate feedback on if something's not flowing or it's not understandable. So just a good idea is read that story to yourself out loud, and that way it'll save the work and the time to get it to publication, so that your editors can, help get stories out as soon as possible. These are the three parts, or the three main parts of a story, right? We've got the beginning, the middle, and the end. The beginning of a story is, the whole point is to communicate what happened and what it means for readers, right? And actually Liam made a point during our editors chat when we were going over this, that Danny once said, and why we all do this is because a lot of people only read the headline and the lead, the first paragraph. That's it. They never read anything else. So if you imagine your readers are not going to read the entire rest of your story, you got to make those good. They have to matter. They're the thing that's going to keep people to, have them continue reading or not. The important sentence in any article, the most important sentence in any article is the first one. If it doesn't induce the reader to proceed to the second sentence, your article is dead. Tell the reader in the lead. I spell it lead, and you can click on this link when I send this out to you, right? It has to do with historically in journalism and newsrooms, they wanted to have a different word for lead because they were dealing with hot lead, which was the actual letters in the print. And so they intentionally changed the language so that they wouldn't be confused. But in general, you can call it either, because now we use computers for our printing and design. So it's just an archaic sort of historical gesture. So tell the reader in the lead the most important part. And this is not easy. And this is when you should work with your editors and your peers to determine this. Sometimes you'll go to a meeting and you'll be like, I have no idea what the fuck matters about that. What is it that we have to figure out is the most important thing? Just some tips. Ask yourself, what do our readers generally care about? Our readers care about money. How much was lost or spent? How much is it going to cost them? They care about their own health and safety. Will this impact your readers or those they love? And in general, this is my word for it, they care about dopamine, anything that makes them feel good, right? So culture is really good at providing, access to movies or video games or, puppies or whatever it is, anything that makes people feel good, they're interested in. Local brewery scene, right? That's all what brings people pleasure. So those are things that people care about. And then this is just sort of a tip, important to remember at the very beginning and throughout the entire thing, translate the language of those in power to make it understandable. Part of your job as a journalist is to go to these boring ass meetings and make it into something that people understand so that they are better informed and that they do a better job of electing people. Joe, what was the quote you had from Gwyneth Dolan that talked about sort of the role of the newspaper and how it's about keeping the citizenry informed? Are you still there, Joe? Did you leave me? Oh, I don't think he's on anymore.
Joe.
I remember it. I was in the same class. She always had something that she said, it's our job as journalists to give the people the news they need to be free and self-governing.
Nice.
I don't know if that's the same one, but that's the one that always stood out to me.
Yeah. Yep, that's it. Okay, so what the heck is a lead? There are many different kinds of leads. Gabriel Villadora just recently texted me and he's like, why don't we do scenic leads at the Daily Lobo? And I was like, let's go over leads. That's awesome. And he's right. We can totally do descriptive or scenic leads. We just generally don't. And it's because of the nature of what we're doing and the level of skill that our reporters bring. So let's talk about what leads are. Hard leads are a lead that reports a new development or a newly discovered fact. A summary lead, the first paragraph of a news story in which the writer presents a synopsis of two or more actions rather than focusing on any one of them. Multiple element lead, the opening paragraph of a story that reports 2 or more newsworthy elements. Immediate identification lead, the opening paragraph of a story in which the who is reported by name. Delayed identification lead is when the opening paragraph in which the who is identified by occupation, city, office, or means other than by name, sort of releasing that later, almost like a teaser. Anecdotal lead, a newspaper story beginning that uses humor or an interesting incident. The scenic lead, a lead that concentrates on a description of an environment or paints the picture for the reader. Impact lead gives the result or effect on people of the news event. Why is this important, right? 800 people are going to lose their jobs, or 1,500 people are likely to die from COVID, or something like that. Soft lead, a lead that uses a quote, anecdote, or other literary device to attract the reader. I want to point out that we use these very rarely. In general, we like to have hard leads for news, and just it's sort of a house style. So oftentimes if you write a soft lead, by the time it gets through all the editing process, if no one has done it before, the copy editor will likely change this lead. And then finally, the second day lead is it's advancing the story, because this is now the second story on the same topic. So you want to have something different. So advances the story by reporting a new event in a continuing story. For example, the second death as a result of a fire that happened yesterday, right? So now it's your turn to practice writing a lead. Any of you who were at the ASUNM meeting on Wednesday or heard about it, I'd like you to, in the chat, drop a lead, right? So in general, keep it tight and concise. You'll have a nut graph that comes later that can give you the why. A really simple summary lead is like something happened at a place at a time. So a tornado killed 3 people. That's important because that's what we care the most about. Where? Just outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. When? On Tuesday morning. So you guys get to like do that now, because if it's not interactive, honestly, I don't think it's going to stick. So talk to me. I know some of you can do this. I'm not trying to put you like, this is not a test. You're not going to be embarrassed. We're just going to talk about them. We can have anyone write a lead for the ASUNM meeting that happened on Wednesday. If you sat through it and you have any idea, if not, you can maybe, well, it's probably not possible for you to Google it right now because I don't think anyone's reported on it. Ooh, here's one. Wednesday night's ASUNM Steering and Rules Committee meeting was longer than most senators politely anticipated or likely anticipated. What does that tell us?
Something interesting happened probably at the meeting.
It was certainly longer than expected. So that's maybe good, maybe bad. We know when it happened. We know who it was, ASUNM Steering and Rules Committee. It was longer than most senators likely anticipated. That kind of is going to give us a little bit of a teaser about the fact that at some point we're probably going to report on the fact that senators complained that they had to stay there for hours and hours and hours and listen to, I want to say 110 people from across the country that showed up to defend UNM student publication, which happens to be the Daily Lobo, right? Got any others? And Andrew is saying about his own lead that it draws the reader in.
It was just off the top of my head. Okay. You know, it's not great, but it's something to start with. It's something to work with. It's paints a picture of chaos, in my opinion.
And then Alex submitted over 100 people attended Wednesday's ASUNM Steering and Rules Committee meeting, where public comment lasted over 3 hours. Right? So we've got a lot of details about what happened. Do you want to keep reading? Maybe, because you're like, wait, why did so many people attend? Why did it take so long? What's going on, right? So that's the whole point of this first line, is to get you to get them to the second line. They want to know what else is happening. And honestly, it's a tough sell because ASUNM meetings, by definition, you start saying steering and rules, people are like, wah, 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 who cares? That sounds really, really boring, right? So maybe you say something like student publications defunding, request isn't approved, and, Daily Lobo fully funded. Something to that effect, right? Maybe that's the headline. So people know, wait, what happened during this? People, didn't end up, defunding the student publications. They actually still get their money. That's interesting. Liam wrote, the community rallied support for student publications on Wednesday during an ASUNM Steering and Rules Committee meeting. So hopefully you guys are getting the sense of this, right? All of those are great. They're telling you what happened. We have to start with what happened. If you're throwing stuff up, just like chronologically in the order that it happened, you're like, and you just like lead in with, Ryan Regalado, the chair of the Steering Rules Committee, called the meeting to order at, 6 o'clock. We're like, well, okay. How is that different than every other Steering and Rules Committee meeting where they call it to order at the start of the meeting? And then you go, the first order of business was this, and then the second order of business was this, and some people talked, and then they adjourned, right? Like there's no story there. So try to have, once you've written all your notes in order of what happened, then go back and make the story where the most important thing is at top and you get people to keep reading. Make sense? Okay, cool. Let me get out of the chat. Go back over here. Okay. So these are two examples that you can sort of like look at on your own time. Danny dropped these both during the presentation that she gave on this. The Case of Jane Doe Ponytail, an epic tragedy on a small block in Queens. That's the head. And then the lead, and I'll just scroll to it really fast so you can see it, is, right, top line. A woman begins to fall. With her long dark hair in a ponytail and her black and red scarf loose around her neck, she is plummeting from a fourth floor balcony through the neon charged November night. Danny's like, after I read that, I want to know what the heck happened. I want to know why. This is what happened. This is who it happened to. This is where it happened. But I want to read the next line. Why is she falling off of a fourth floor balcony? Right? And I can see that black and red scarf that's loose around her neck. So she's painting a picture there, right? That's an example of a good lead. Let me check the chat. Okay. And then another one that she's dropped in here, but which we don't have time for right now, is Evil, Evil as Can Be, Emotional Testimony, Dylan Roof Trial Begins. And this is the headline. But remember, whenever you're covering like court proceedings or, government meetings, those are notoriously extremely dry. So you're looking for something that somebody said that would actually make them want to read it, right? Okay. This is just a tip. This doesn't necessarily have to happen in the lead, but I just wanted to embed it in the process early on, right? Know that mistakes happen. We try to diminish mistakes because remember, our goal is to tell the truth and to be accurate, or the truths and to be accurate. That's what maintains our credibility. That's why people come back to us for the news. So we need to be as accurate as possible. At the same time, mistakes happen. In fact, they happen every single time you write. And so given that, these are the steps that we take at the Daily Lobo and that other newspapers take, right, to try to diminish and minimize those mistakes. First, as a desk editor, I would try to assign a knowledgeable reporter. But you all are so brand new, and we're all brand new at all of this, that I don't always have a reporter that knows what the heck they're talking about when they go out on an assignment. So then I just want them to get experience. Because if you can pick up a story and then maybe cover it 2 or 3 times, that same issue, you will become knowledgeable. You will become good. That's what beat reporters are, right? At the Lobo, we have freelance reporters. The next one is a beat reporter as far as promotion. Beyond that, it's a senior reporter. And then if you wanted to, you could also become an editor and go through the editing, desk editor, managing editor, I think. And then it's copy chief and then editor in chief. So we assign knowledgeable reporters. If you're not knowledgeable, then we kind of hope that you'll do good research, right? Don't just half-ass it because you don't know what you're talking about. So you're going to have to talk to a lot of people. You're going to have to fact check extra careful because you don't know this area. On you guys is, in order to ensure that you're accurate, is we want you to double check names. We want you to get multiple sources. We want you to have integrity, right? Don't write something that's not true. Don't make up quotes. Don't do crazy shit. Just stick to the news. If you can't get the story that you want, don't pretend that you did. Then we have the editorial process. And this is really important, and we'll mention this again, but one of the ways that we do this is we have multiple layers of editing. And that means when you in Google Docs share your story with your desk editor, they're going to go through and they're going to, under suggestion mode, they're going to make all sorts of recommendations. That's not on you, the reporter, to accept those. Unless there's like a specific question to you because you were out in the field and they can't answer it, then they'll ask you to go back in and respond to that, maybe develop a graph a little bit more or get another quote or something. In general, though, most of those suggestions are not for you to accept or reject. This is not a conversation between you and your professor, right? Where you guys are trying to work on you having a better story. It's now not yours anymore. You've submitted it to the paper and you can check it for accuracy. If they make any changes that are wrong, then you absolutely are expected to hopefully speak up and say, no, that change won't work because that's not accurate. Everything else, though, goes on to the next editor to then accept or reject. So it goes desk editor, managing editor, copy chief, editor in chief. And sometimes actually the editor in chief will often look at it before the copy editor gets it. And then the editor in chief will look at it again. So sometimes the editor in chief looks at it twice, and it's the person above that editor that is going to accept the edits that have been suggested. So that's our sort of check and balance. So when you go in and you reject your desk editor's suggestions, it kind of messes up the whole system. So don't do that.
By the way, you're going to get an email with like 200 suggestions. I promise it's not like the first time I got that, I thought I had just bombed the entire article, but that's very normal for us to, make a lot of, minor changes that accumulate into like, you have 2,000 new suggested edits or something like that.
Sometimes we edit because it's too long, not because it wasn't great prose or it wasn't interesting. We just have to fit it into the paper, and we know what else we're trying to fit it, with. Sometimes we have to make edits because we gave a shitty pitch and you didn't understand the angle that we were at, and now we have to rewrite it because we know better what we were trying to, communicate. Sometimes more information has come in. There's so many different reasons for the types of edits you might get. Sometimes it's just personal style, right? You will have to have a thick skin. You absolutely are able and encouraged, though, to push back on your editor if they make a change that you disagree with, right? Ask for a meeting with them, talk to them about it. If they're making changes consistently, say that you want to do a live edit so that they can explain the edits that they're making with you. Okay. And then finally, we've been starting to also think about and use sensitivity readers for certain topics that are outside of all of our expertise. We did this with Gabriel's story about sex workers, where we had a sex worker expert who read everything that we wrote just to make sure that the language we were using was not further stigmatizing that population. And then sometimes mistakes still happen, even if they've gone through all of this. And in that situation, if it's a minor change, like a missing, period at the end of a sentence, we might just go in and add that period. If it's an actual sentence that needs to be changed, but it's not a huge mistake, then we might put an editor's note at the top and make the correction, but not necessarily reprint a new story. And if it's a really bad mistake, we will issue a retraction where we will pull the story and we will explain why we did that. We need you to do that with your tweets too. So if you make a mistake in a tweet, you don't just delete it, right? We need you to explain what the error was and correct it, because again, that builds credibility with our readers, that we're not trying to hide our mistakes. We're trying to be honest about them and let them see what it is that we're doing and how we made that mistake, and apologize, right? When you make a mistake, it's really important to apologize and be genuine about it, because that's not our goal, but it does happen. Okay, the middle part
also, retractions are very, very rare. I can't remember the last time we had to print a retraction. It was like over a year ago. I think it's just very, very rare that we print something that's like so incorrect that we have to be like, sorry, that was not cool. It almost never happens, so don't sweat that.
Totally true. And that has partially to do, I think, honestly, with our editing staff and our team, right? You guys are great reporters, and we have solid writers, right? We have solid reporters and solid editors. So most of it, once it gets through the process, isn't totally jacked. Like, we have fact checkers all along the way, which is a good thing, but don't count on that. Like, always make sure that your stuff is accurate as much as possible. So the middle, we're now into the middle of the story. You've got your lead at the top, you've got your headline at the top. Now the next obvious thing that you write is the nut graph. And this is kind of the transition between your lead and into the body of your story. The nut graph provides the historical and national context about why the topic is important. It justifies the story by telling the readers why they should care. Right? It provides a transition from the lead and explains the lead and its connection to the rest of the story. It often tells readers why the story is timely. It often includes supporting materials that help the reader see why the story is important. So an example is if you're writing a story about tuition or fee increase, this is where you talk about that there's a current national pandemic, unemployment is an all-time high, and students are concerned about their future. This is why this story matters, right? You talk about the increase in the very lead because this is where it occurred and what happened and what day and how much the increase was. And then the next story is the nut graph of, by the way, President Stokes, the reason this matters is because we're struggling, and I can give you stats and facts and figures and make this real. This is why this matters. From there, you get into the middle, which is your quotes and transitions, right? So when you're writing a story and you're trying to think, where do I start? Step one, find reports, documents, videos, pictures, etc. about your topic. Step two, talk to opinion leaders and important, like gatekeepers and people with titles, but also people from the community who have expertise and are wise on all of the topics, and ask them about all the documents and reports and videos and pictures that you found in your research, right? You can ask sources what their opinion is about the document, what they're doing or have done about it, what decision was made and what the rationale was for that decision. What does this mean in plain English? If it's some like scientific gobbledygook, like, can you just tell me what this is, right? What do you think we should know? Sometimes they will give you spin when you ask that question, but sometimes they'll actually say, yeah, I'm the expert on this and you asked all these questions, but really what you need to know is this, right? So that's sort of how you go about doing the reporting of a story, and this is where you put them in. So the way that we do it at the Lobo is we try not to quote stack. You don't put a quote and then a quote and then a quote. You try to have a transition sentence. And that's an entire graph as a sentence, right? You don't need to write multiple sentence graphs anymore. You're just trying to keep it short. Have a quote, or actually have a transition sentence that explains kind of in a different, in their own words or in a different sort of way, what the quote is about to say. And then the quote kind of backs it up. So you make your claim, you back it up. You make the claim, you back it up with a quote. What's a good quote? Listen for the thing that only they could say. Right? If everyone can say 110 people were there, you don't need to quote the chair of the committee for saying there's 110 people there. You can just say it's fact, and your source is that you have the Zoom meeting with the stamp on it that says there was 110 people there. Listen for something colorful, right? This is what ASUNM gets pissed at us about, but they say all sorts of crazy shit, and that ends up being what people want to hear. And that's the important stuff, right? You want to say what's colorful. Do this, tell me something to move the story along. So this is, tell me something to move the story along. So the quotes are how you tell your story. You don't say it from your own words. You let the other people say the story that you're trying to tell. Sorry, I need to edit that. Some tips on getting good quotes. Ask a source a question twice to get a clear quote. Maybe the first time off the top of their head, they say like a bunch of breaks and it's confusing and it's awkward and it just wouldn't turn into a good quote. So ask them the same question right again and see if they can give you a more concise, cleaner quote. Plan your questions in advance. Sports journalism and honestly, sometimes politicians produce shit quotes because they're so like trying to stay on message that they give you like non-statement statements. So just be aware of that and prepare yourself and try to like really be aggressive in getting them to answer in another way or be creative. Don't let scientists use so much jargon that no one understands what they're saying. If they propose sending money, ask where the money will come from, right? So just ask those deeper questions. The next thing here, and this is sort of like when you're writing an essay, but I think that we're even more careful about it in journalism, is you need to attribute every fact, claim, etc. that you include in your story. So sometimes some of the stories I've been getting lately have a lot of claims that are sort of like the reporter's opinion, and that's an opinion piece, right? If you don't have a website quote, a document quote, even another newspaper article that you can attribute it to, or the actual person themselves backing that up, you really can't say that, You have to have a source. This means you sometimes have to write the story you can write and not the story you want to write because you couldn't get the quotes. You build trust with your community by showing your work. An example is if you assert that there's a racial reckoning happening in the United States, it's a verifiable truth, right? Go ahead and verify that by referencing other news outlet coverages of protests across the country that are happening, right? So that you're backing up every claim you make, even when you think it should be obvious. Okay. And then at the very end of your stories, this is your kicker. The start of your story hooks the reader, but the ending is what leaves an impression. It deserves as much attention as your opening. You want to try, they're called kickers, right? And I think it's a great name because it sort of implies the very last thing is that sort of kick to the gut where you're like, oh, I was kind of following along and I knew what was up and I knew what was happening. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Like you just feel like, oh shit, babies are going to die. Like that's horrible. Or, you know, all these claims that this guy just made at the ASUNM meeting, you know, and by the way, on his Twitter page, he, you know, was totally did the stupid shit or was incredibly incredible or something like that, right? Like something that's unexpected and makes people think. You can end with a quote. A great closing quote though is rare, but every once in a while, the person you're writing about gives you the words that button up the story. And then you can also end with the beginning. Plant your kicker high in the story, then circle back to it, right? So you really make that point by hitting it twice. And that is the anatomy of a news story. Does anyone have any questions? I will totally share this with you. It's easy to talk about. It's so much harder to do. But I just wanted to review just for those that are brand new, but also for those of you that have been writing for a while, because I know when we're tired and stressed, sometimes we just sort of like write a bunch of stuff onto a piece of paper and like just send it in and you're like, you figure it out. And you know, we just don't have time for that. We can't do that. So we really want you to have an idea of what the vision is, because it is slightly different than writing an essay, right? Or academic writing. And if you were never taught that in your journalism classes, or if you've never taken a journalism class, you need to have the basics. Andrew, did you want to add anything to that?
Not particularly. I think it's pretty good.
Okay, cool. Awesome. I now have 4 minutes left in the news desk meeting. So let me talk to you about what's going on with news. I'm going to share screen to my pitch doc. These are all my text messages. Ooh, ooh. Let me escape out of that and go to the news pitch doc. So this is a little chaotic. It sort of has something to do with like how busy I am in the week. But any of you who are new, we love it when reporters actually pitch stories that we didn't think of, because eyes and ears, you all have different people you're exposed to and different perspectives. And our newspaper is better if more than one person is pitching stories. We'll just have a better paper. It'll be more well-rounded. In the meantime, if you can't think of a pitch or you don't know what's up, I spend a lot of time reviewing what news is happening across the state, and you know, I'm connected to a lot of people, so I pitch some stories too. So these are the new pitches for this week. We are coming to an end for the semester. We will have newsletters through the last week, which means we print, or we don't print, but we publish 3 newsletters with usually about 3 to 4 stories in them each time, 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then after that, we will allow you and encourage you to publish. We will edit and publish whatever you guys want to write, but it's not on deadline and it's not going to be in a newsletter. It's not going to be in a print publication. So it's a lot less pressure, but it also provides an outlet for you if you want to practice. Some new pitches are, there is a special session of the legislature that is happening on Tuesday to deal with COVID. I expect that they're going to try to vote on how to get money into the hands of all the people that are out of work. That could affect our students. It could affect people affiliated with UNM. So they would allow us as essential workers to send somebody up to Santa Fe into the Roundhouse, where you can make relationships, you can hear side conversations, and you can get more of the story. At the same time, we are in a surge in the pandemic right now. And so if no one wants to go, that is totally okay. We can also watch this stuff online. They have it Zoomed. It won't be quite as likely to be as robust of a story, but it'll still get the basics out. So is there anyone who's interested in covering the legislative session? That should it hopefully will be quick because they only have one issue to deal with. But it's still, if they're going to pass any legislation, it still has to go through both chambers. So it'll be all day for sure. Anyone?
I'll be there to tweet and possibly co-write.
Okay. Are you going to go up there, Andrew, in person, or are you going to do it remotely?
Probably not remotely.
If there's any photographers interested.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna ask. Are you allowed to take pictures like inside there, or is there like a certain?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, Sharon can share with you what they did to her during the special session over the summer, right? And so if you want to talk to her, Sharon, are you still on the call?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Did you want to tell Nick and everybody else like what they did? Because it was crazy.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like they are kind of strict when it comes for photography. You have to shoot at a certain section. And I saw like one of the Albuquerque Journal photographers sit at one section, so I figured it was okay. But I don't know, I got in trouble for it, so just be careful.
I think
and just
About what's the distance like? About how far away are you usually?
it's not that far. Do you have a telephoto lens?
I do. It only goes to about 200 meters, and it's not the best lens, but
I think that would work. Yeah, it's
okay.
not too far. It's yeah. I
What,
think
what day is it, Lisa?
Oh, well, they let us they had our photographers go into the gallery, which is where the public usually would be allowed to sit, but they're not doing that right now because of COVID.
Yeah.
So you're like in the gallery with socially distanced from all the other reporters that are in the gallery. And you can then it reminds me like of a zoo where they're like all the animals in the zoo and you're sort of looking down at them from above. You can also take photos from the crow's nest, which is where the press often are, right? And we have like it's on the side and it also has big glass windows to look down on the two sides of the house, the two chambers. They aren't meeting. I can't remember if they met in committee. I don't remember going to any committee hearings in those rooms. No, I take it back. They do have some committee hearings. And if you're in there, no one else, there's big signs on the wall that say no photography unless you're press. So if you're press, you're allowed to bring your camera in and you just have to identify yourself.
Okay, I'll definitely double check tonight with some things, and I'll reach back out to you and let you know if I can make it for sure.
Yeah, if you could go there and be there in person, Nick, you might be our eyes and ears there, right? And that would minimize our overall risk because we'd only send one human live person to Santa Fe, and then the rest of us would be doing it remotely, which sucks because you're the greatest risk. But I think that photography is the one thing you can't get that any other way without being there. So
yeah, for sure. I'll check around with some stuff tonight, and I'll let you know if I can go take some pictures.
Let me know too, please.
Yeah, I'll definitely, for sure.
Cool.
And then just the other thing is Sharon didn't mention this, but part of like being a good reporter and a photographer sometimes is like bending the rules until you get caught, right? So you're allowed to be there in the public. And if they're going to give you a hard time, like we've got people we can call and maybe they can back you up, but get the photo and then have them say, don't do that anymore. And you're like, okay, my bad. I'm sorry. And you've already got the photo.
Sounds good.
That's not me telling you to break the law. Just
and if people ask you to delete photos, do not delete photos. Never. Not ever delete a photo.
Ever. Okay. So that's on Tuesday. The SFRB process, so that's the Student Fee Review Board process. It has 3 steps. First, the ASUNM senators and GPSA representatives vote on it. We covered that, right? Those recommendations were then sent to the budget leadership team. And we saw a tweet from Emma that the budget leadership team had approved some of those recommendations. So we need a reporter to follow up on that. Find out, have they convened? Have they made their recommendations? Are they done convening? And get a story about that. The final step is the regents will then approve or adjust and then approve the student activity fee recommendations. So is there anyone interested in covering that, the Student Fee Review Board? And remember, who's covered by SFRB fees? Athletics gets a chunk of money, like $3.4 million. Student publications, we asked for $65,000 this year. The SHAC, student health and counseling, the libraries, I think it's student fees. The student union gets student fees. The ethnic centers get student fees. So a lot of the services for students are funded through student fees. Anyone interested in picking up that story? Okay, I'll leave it blank right now. If anyone is interested in it, let me know. You have access. I'll add you guys all if you're brand new to share this document so you can jump in and you can make edits too. Vaccinations in New Mexico, I'm going to cover that story, but if anyone wants to double byline with me, or if we can get a reporter, or I mean a photographer, that would be awesome. I'm doing this for a paper an assignment in CJ 485. So I have to write it anyway. I might as well get it published. It'll be relevant. They're kind of stonewalling me right now about vaccinations. Whatevs. We'll figure it
What
out.
do you think about a photo for that? Like, do you have any ideas, like a place we could photograph, or?
Yeah, if the Department of Health, according to the CDC, the New Mexico Department of Health is going to be responsible for the vaccination rollout. So going to one of the DOH clinics, and if you could get them to, give a vaccination of another kind, like a flu vaccine to somebody, and zoom in so that you're protecting HIPAA, so it's not identifying who's getting the vaccination, but get a close up of like somebody putting a shot in.
If anyone's interested, let me know.
Again, think about risk though too. Right now, going to health clinics with COVID,
Definitely.
not an awesome idea.
And I would always rather have to do a stock photo than to risk someone's, safety or make someone uncomfortable in a assignment. So only do this if you want to and if you're comfortable with it.
Well, and to me, the middle ground photo for this is of the building. We don't love building photos, but it's still less than a stock photo.
Right. Exactly.
New Mexico, it's more real time, but it's less exposure, right?
Yeah.
So you could just have a photo of one of the clinics that's DOH that's likely to be, providing the vaccinations. That'd be cool.
Okay.
When I think we have one new reporter that's interested in being in photography, right? If you jump into the story or work with the reporter so that you have some ideas about what's going to be in the story, then you can probably come up with a better idea for the photo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a sports pitch, so it'll probably end up being edited by Gino instead of me, but ESPN has covered it. And if it's getting national coverage, we should probably cover it, right? If it's our own house. So ESPN, and there's a link here in the doc, right, has covered that New Mexico men's and women's basketball are going to relocate to Texas. That's kind of a big deal, right? Not every other state is doing that. It has to do with our, the governor in this state is taking COVID super seriously and recognizes that it would be a super spreader event to have people practicing with the other people because it's contact sport, right? So we would love to have somebody pick that story up. But again, it's kind of embarrassing when, it's a national story and we haven't even mentioned it. And, we're the university paper. So it'd be cool to have somebody pick that up. And then this is an evergreen, and evergreen means that it's probably going to last for a while. So you don't have a hard deadline on it, but we can probably have multiple stories that come out of it. And this has to do with open records. We expect the legislature is likely going to try to reform the Inspection of Public Records Act next spring. There's also a specific sports angle with regard to open records. There's a lawsuit that was filed a couple years ago and is now going through the court process with regard to whether or not the UNM Foundation and the donors that donate to athletics have to be open, have to be public so that people can see who they are and how much they donated. The university pushed back and said, no, that's private information. And yet it's so tightly connected to public decisions that they have lost every step of the way so far, even though it's in the appeal process about whether or not that is actually private. And that's another one where there's a big story and we haven't been covering it. And then Ledge Preview, this one started off, we had one reporter who picked it up and then had to drop it. And so we're looking for somebody to circle back, but he's already done a lot of work that he could share with people. It's a controversial story though. This has to do with looking at local businesses who provide campaign donations to pro-life candidates and pro-life causes. We think that there's, especially the biggest one that we know of is Frontier, the very famous and very beloved restaurant across the street, and also an advertiser, incidentally, for the Lobo, across the street from UNM. There's a lot of, if you go to opensecrets.com, you can see that they're donating to pro-life candidates. And I'm not sure that the people who go there are aware that their money is being used, right? The profit that the business makes off of the sales of their goods is being used for the purpose of supporting pro-life candidates. So it would be great to have somebody pick that up. Like I said, that story has already been started and a lot of research has been done, so it shouldn't be as hard. But it is controversial, and I expect some people to be pissed off when it's finally printed. And then we haven't been covering science and space, and apparently New Mexico is on the map as far as a possible space command site nationally. So if anyone has any interest in background and connections, we could start building those. There was a whole conference of like space engineers, and there's tons of names in there that you could probably cold call. I can give you some resources on that too. So those are some ideas for stories. We're a little light right now as we're going into the holiday and into the end of the semester. If you have something you're already working on, know that I've still got those up here, right? They haven't all come to fruition yet. If it's green, that usually means it's been published or it's in the process of being published. If it's not green yet, that means that, you know, it either hasn't been picked up, it's been assigned, somebody's working on it, right? So just the columns, this is the reporter, this is the photographer, and this is the deadline. Any other questions? Sorry, I blew
I have a pitch, actually. This is more of just kind of a heads up and a possible, like, we should pre-write for this. Biden's supposed to announce his cabinet picks on Tuesday. So it's possible that our governor will be picked for Health and Human Services Secretary. The New York Times believes that she's in the running. She's a very close contender, among with like 2 others, but still, so 1 in 3 shot, but still, yeah, we should pre-write for that.
And I was going to say, Deb Haaland, I think, is being bantered around
Yes.
for Interior Secretary as well. So both of
Yes.
those would leave vacancies in our state. I like that. So cabinet picks. Oh.
Also, for all of you photographers joining, we kind of had a joint news and photo section. So if you're interested in some news pitches, I'll be pitching those out to, or well, I guess you saw them when you joined at 1, so you're good. We're photo, but we're kind of doing joint.
We are kind of. I know. I'm sorry. I bled over. The presentation was so long.
That's all right.
Okay, so just let me know if you guys want to pick anything up or you have anything you're working on. Can't wait. Take care. Oh, and we also sometimes live tweet instead of just writing full stories. So Liam can talk about that, or you can ask me, or you can message me. I'm going to add the new reporters to the Signal chat now after our meeting today. So everyone who's already in the Signal chat, make sure to be, give them a warm welcome and try not to be too overwhelmed. You can mute it. If it's too much, don't read all the messages unless it's a desk message, right? Those are the ones you need to read. All the rest of them, come in and out as you need to.
All right, hello and welcome to Photo Desk. I am the photo editor for all the new people here. Everyone's leaving.
Hey, Liam, if you can get to a space where we can see your face so everyone knows.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. I always keep my camera turned off until till my meetings. Hello. So I want to welcome everybody who's new, and kind of wanted to run over real quick like how we usually work with photographers and reporters. I like reporters to talk to the photographers on their stories and photographers to talk to the reporters, because we get some really great photos when both pieces of the puzzle know what the other is doing. If anyone who signed up to be a reporter wants to try photography, let me know. I can definitely try to get you set up with a DSLR, just like loan you out one, and we can have you go shoot if you're interested. So just let me know. Also wanted to say that Shelby, those photos of Bella were fantastic, and I totally see why you had so much trouble choosing like a few. So thank you for sending them. I didn't mind looking through all of them. Same thing with I liked the close up of the wreath. It worked well. It's been a really awesome semester with you guys. And we still got some time, but the last print edition is making me kind of nostalgic. So I'm glad I hired all of you guys, and glad you guys are getting to do, you know, all the photo stuff. Let's see. Does anyone else have anything to say or any like highlights before we get into? I'm gonna run through the culture pitches and see if any are updated. But does anyone have news or highlights of the week?
So I think Dominic just put in the chat that
Oh.
they're interested in photography too.
Oh, cool.
I
Yeah.
didn't interrupt you or anything.
No, you're good. Yeah, cool. All right. Are you in the Signal chat yet? Or I mean,
Yeah, I have Signal.
okay.
I think I was just waiting to be added so far.
Okay. I'll get in contact with you privately and we can talk about you know, like your setup and stuff like that.
All right, yeah, cool.
Cool. All right. Oh, and Hannah said she'd love to shoot some pictures. Cool. I will get in contact with you as well. Let's see. All right. I'm going to start on the culture pitches real quick. And I know this hasn't been too updated. Okay. We have a pitch, which is a little ways away. It's probably going to be after either when the pandemic is back down to very low levels or just after the pandemic in general, but it's about street racing. And we wanted to get some photographs of that. You know, I know some people who would probably let you come along and at least photograph a car meet. I don't know if they'd let you photograph the actual racing, but if anyone's interested in photographing autos, cars, if that's your thing, let me know. Then I can sign you up for that preemptively. We don't have a deadline on it. It's still in the works, but it's something that if you have a burning desire to do it, let me know and I'll make sure you get that. Let's see. We also have Sarah's story on a stress book, but I'm not sure what that is. So may have to wait for Megan for that because we don't have culture today. But I will get in contact with her and pitch that out. Beyond that, everything else has photos. Sorry that again we don't have too many pitches, but I'm glad we got some pitches for news. And if you guys saw any that you wanted to pick up or have questions about in the news pitch news desk, let me know. Always happy to help. Always happy to set you up with you know, whatever you need. So yeah. Anything else, guys? Any pitches? Any photo story pitches? That's okay. But yeah, just thank you guys for all your hard work. And you know, I've really enjoyed seeing all your photographs and continue to enjoy seeing your photographs. So cool. All right. I guess we can end now. We don't have anything after this, right? Okay. All right. Well, good meeting all of you new people. And yeah, see you in the Signal chat. Bye, guys.
I'm going to add the new people right now.
Okay, cool. Bye.